Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Sunday, March 30th, 2014. I'm Rooplee, and I'm going to be talking today about Cloud9's AUI 2000. Now, AUI 2000 is a hero that you don't hear a ton about very often. He's been a very stable part of a lot of teams, and he's a very consistent player. But a lot of the times you don't hear as much about him as you think you should, as I think you should, because he tends to not be like the standout player. He's not like a Dendi who just makes all of the big plays, but AUI 2000 is consistent and solid in his play, and that makes him a really, really good support player. So today I'm going to take a dive into AUI 2000 support play, and just support play in general for all of you people who say, why do we have a support on our team? Why does nobody like to play support? Or whatever you hear in your pub games when you play. I want you guys to be able to come out and say, hey, at least I have an idea on what a support should do. And a lot of what AUI 2000 does is not just applicable to pro games. Like, you can go and you can do these support things in regular games. I'm going to get into the game just so we can get started. I've got 3 games lined up for us, so I want to make sure that we're not missing out on too much here. So I want to just go through the games. I'm going to go through the beginning of the games pretty much, just because that's the most important part as a support. Supports are really, really active at the beginning of the game, and that's what they need to do. Like, you need to be able to take control of the early game. The late game, it does matter, obviously, but the support is not going to be the standout player in the late game like they are in the early and mid game. Supports dominate the early game. Supports are good in the mid game, and they contribute in the late game. But when you're mixed up in 5-manning, it's not, it's pretty straightforward as far as what's going on once you get to a certain point in the game. So let's go ahead and just go on into the game. Alright, so this is a game, actually another game from the C2DL, the D2CL, the Dota 2 Champions League. So, yeah, so this game, it's going to, the 3 games I'm focusing on for AUI 2000 have 3 different heroes. So, and 3 different playstyles based on the heroes themselves. Supports don't always have to be played the same way every single time. Supports can be the hard number 6 support, I like to call. So that when people refer to Dota roles, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. With 1 being the hard carry, it's basically just based off of farm priority. 2 is usually your mid laner, somebody who's second only to the carry as far as farm priority. And then you've got the offlaner who tries to get experience, and then the 2 supports. The number 4 support is usually somebody who will, not buy all of the wards and all of the smokes and all of that thing, but they will focus more on getting like a bigger item, like getting the 4 staff or mechanism early, or mana boots or whatever, and then going from there. And then the number 5 support is I buy wards, smokes, TPs, and pool resources and just try to make sure my teammates can farm. So whenever you hear the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbering system, that's what it is. And when I say number 6, I'm referring to what happens sometimes in pub games when nobody likes to support and everybody likes to carry, and you are stuck playing the support where you're getting all of the wards, all of the smokes, trying to make all of the action happen on the early game. And it's actually not an ideal situation at all, because it's hard to smoke gank as just a single support. If you have 2 supports, it's really, really easy. If you have 1 support, it's really, really hard. Alright, let's get back into this. So I'm going to just actually skip through this draft. It's not terribly important. As we've been saying before, Lycan and Dazzle, and Batrider, Rubik. If you guys want to watch this game, feel free to. It's on the Dota 2 Champion League. So I'm just going to skip through it. If you want to watch it, you can watch it just by downloading a ticket from Steam, or you can just watch it on Dailymotion, I believe has it. So those are your two biggest options to actually watch through this full game. I'm just, like I said, I'm just going to skip through so you guys see the basics of what's happening here, you know. So here we've got the two team lineups. We've got Lycan, Dazzle, Puck, Venge, and Alchemist on Cloud 9. Batrider, Rubik, Shadow Shaman, Centaur, and Lifestealer on Team Empire, sorry. So, yeah, we'll just go ahead and hop right into the game. Cool, I got that timing just down. Nope, I did not, just kidding. Alright, let's go back. As always, there are super important things that happen in the early game, even more so for supports. There are a lot of subtle things that support players do. So, like, support players in general, they do a lot of really subtle things that don't usually catch the eye whenever you're watching a game that's being casted or something like that. They do a lot of very small things that make a very big difference in the game. That's kind of the game of the support. The support does a bajillion things that are just very, very small. Bam. Go back into it. I'm just trying to get the camera all set up nice and neat. So, and here we go. Okay, cool. So, at the very beginning of the game, Dazzle buys Sentries at level 1, gives 1 to Bone 7, and an Observer gets pulled from Pile I Die. So, he has Sentry, Clarity, 4 Tangos. He will probably give 2 Tangos to Sing Sing. Sing Sing starts out with a Magic Stick because he figures he's going against a Batrider. Always a good idea. So, let's go ahead and close that. Hop right in. So, this is what's going to happen. We're going to have a Dazzle and a Lycan up here. Pile I Die is actually going to be a roaming Vengeful Spirit, which, in my opinion, Vengeful Spirit is one of the most versatile supports in the game. You can roam with Vengeful Spirit, you can gank with Vengeful Spirit, you can lane control with Vengeful Spirit. She's not the best at any of those, but she's really good at all of them. So she's a really, really just a solid support all around for that very reason. And she scales really well into the late game with her minus R armor aura from Wave of Terror and the Vengeance aura, giving a bonus up to 36% damage for your team. Excuse me. And Dazzle actually scales fairly well into the late game, just because of Shallow Grave and that armor change. So what's going to happen here is that we're going to see AUI 2000 is just securing the lane. We've got Pile I Die since he's roaming, taking the rune, and Eternal Envy right here, whose nickname, let's see if I can pronounce this, Senyonghara Hitagi, is Eternal Envy. He changes his name frequently to names I cannot pronounce very well. But anywho, check out this positioning right here. So, this is one of AUI 2000's favorite positions, at least when he's on the dire side playing as the number 5 support. And this should be your favorite position too. Supports are all about the element of surprise. You want the enemy team to think you're not there, you're not anywhere, or you're everywhere at the same time. Either they're going to be afraid and they're not going to advance, or they're going to think you're somewhere else and advance, and then you kill them. So the element of surprise is the key thing of being a support. And right here, AUI 2000 is just sitting here waiting. And what will happen is that you'll see you've got Mag right here, just as a Centaur, being able to block the camp up. And this is what happens. So AUI 2000's goal here as a Dazzle is to, first and foremost, keep Eternal Envy safe. So Pile I Die was able to get a kill with the roaming on the mid Batrider, but that's not terribly important for what we're concerned with. AUI 2000, he does get the stack on the small camp right here. So his goal right now is, first and foremost, make sure that Eternal Envy gets farm. Secondly, deny Mag farm. He wants to just keep Mag on his toes. He wants to keep Mag out of the lane. You'll see from time to time that Eternal Envy helps out with his Howl. So he's able to use his Howl to give AUI 2000 20 bonus damage. And Pilot Eye actually comes in and, pushes Mag back, but he does have a smoke. So this gives a lot of kill potential to this lane, and they can hop out at any point in time and then just go for a kill somewhere else. But see, the Howl just went off, 20 bonus damage, and Centaur, even though he has a stout shield, is just taking a beating. Like, it completely cut through the stout shield. He almost died. He actually sat up there a little bit longer just to get his level 3 before he had to go back and beat up a couple tangos. So AUI 2000 is just doing a good job of zoning Mag out of the lane, stacking these two camps. His level priority is not as high as Pilot Eye's right now. Pilot Eye being the roaming support means that, like, if Pilot Eye is a higher level, he can cause more panic and more craziness on the entire rest of the map. Which is why, and also if he gets more gold, he can Venge scales surprisingly well with items for support. So getting that extra gold on Vengeful Spirit is a really good idea. If you can get those treads up, if you can get like a 4-staff up or something like that, you can just stay alive and you can crush people. Whereas Dazzle with items like beyond a medallion, he doesn't really need much, or an urn or something like that. But as you can see, the lane's going really well. The Mag on the Centaur was pushed out of the lane, and it's around the 2:30 to 3-minute mark. This is a very popular time to smoke. Actually, I'm going to bring this up. So as a support, you want to be able to smoke up and gank at specific intervals. It depends on your hero and the hero that you're helping out in whatever lane you're going to. So, as for example, if you have an Invoker in the middle lane, you don't really want to force something until a few minutes into the game, because Invoker at level 2 even isn't that powerful. At level 1 he has nothing. Level 2 he has a Cold Snap. You want to wait, excuse me, you want to wait until like level 3 or 4, because then on Invoker, if he's Quas Exhort, he can have a Forge Spirit and a Cold Snap. If he's Quas Wax, he can have a Cold Snap and an EMP potentially. And if he's level 4, he can have level 2 EMP potentially, which will be like 100 mana drained, because we know how EMP is. Zam! It's a powerful skill, guys. Not overpowered, just powerful. So what they do is they actually smoke right before the 3-minute mark, because that gives your whoever's in your mid is usually around level 3 or 4 at that time. And as you can see, level 2 Acid Spray and level 2 Unstable Concoction is really powerful. They're smoking up way behind the Bat Rider, so they're so confident in this kill right now, and it's like totally unexpected by Resolution. He is just melting between the 2 instances of minus armor, the Acid Spray and the Howl, the Wave of Terror, and just so much physical damage in that lineup that there's no way that can really fail. So, because in case you guys didn't know, Dazzle's Poison Touch is actually physical damage, and Dazzle's Heal is also physical damage. So, by doing both of those as physical damage, early on, they're amazingly good, because if we look, even a Centaur with 3 armor only has 18% physical reduction and 25% magical resist. And, 3 is generally, like, I guess about average, a little above average, especially at level 1. So, physical damage spells are more powerful earlier on and usually less powerful later unless you have armor reduction. But this is AUI 2000's goal. Still, as always, he's just forcing Mag out of the lane. He wants to make sure Centaur's under level. Look, Centaur is level 3, and AUI 2000 on the Dazzle is also level 3. The way that you can tell you're doing a good job as a support is if, as a support, you are the same level or better than the offlane hero, you're doing a great job. And assuming your carry's 2 levels higher than you. That's generally a good assumption to have. Is like, if you're around this point where your carry is level 5 or level 6, you're level 3.5, and then the opponent is level 3.5 or lower, you're doing a really good job. That means you're not sapping all of the experience from the carry, and you're able to find experience in the jungle or through ganks, as well as zoning out the enemy hero. So that's just a little marker that I like to keep in my head to think about, that if I'm even levels with the offlaner, I'm doing a good job. Obviously, more is better, but even levels with offlaner is good. So one thing to note here is that creeps will get aggroed if you actually get hit with it. So here's a good trick for pulling stacks: is this little range creep right here hits Pile I Die, and then there's a little circle of aggro around the Vengeful Spirit that pulls these creeps there. So if you need to pull the creeps when you're chain pulling, just get hit by one of the range creeps. Ideally the smaller ones because it's less damage, but you don't usually have control over that. So they're able to farm up the stack, and because Pilot Eye got hit with that, they were able to chain pull. AUI does another check to see if he's actually, if Centaur is still there. Centaur was not, so they're going to go ahead and probably smoke bank up mid again. If they can keep the Batrider down, then they'll have a lot of space for the rest of the game. Like, that's just how it is. Like, Batrider with a slow blink is not that good. Batrider with a fast blink is amazing. So they know that if they shut down the high priority blink dagger on the Batrider, then they'll be able to just do fantastic things. So this is cool. They pick up the 6-minute rune, immediately go into a smoke. You might wonder where they're going to smoke. I mean, actually, I'm wondering where they're going to smoke. Honestly, what they'll do is they'll probably just wrap around here and go for the smoke. But one thing they don't realize is that they've got Shadow Shaman right here pulling. He breaks the smoke early, and then they have a tri-lane down here for Empire. So Sing Sing is stunning himself as well. And if we look at the same time, the ward, go ahead and go back. So this is good reactions by Resolution. If we look, the minute that Always Wanna Fly sees these two, he's there. Like, he's walking there. This will make it a 4v5, and if Centaur comes in, it'll be a 5v5. AUI 2000, this is awesome. This is why I love Dazzle so much, actually, as a hero. Shallow Grave can just throw so many people off. Unfortunately, it was not enough because, like I said, all they had to do was just TP Maggin, and they had a 5v3 engagement, and both of the supports died, as well as the Alchemist, I believe. Yeah, he must have died. He was just stunned right there. He just died way early, so he already respawned. But that was a failed smoke gank just because it was good positioning by Always Wanna Fly. Just through the chain pull, was able to break the smoke but not die. So he did not get hit by Sing Sing's stun. If he would have, then at least the Shadow Shaman would have died. Maybe the Rubik before they got there, if Venge would have gotten a stun off too. But it happens. You take risks. It doesn't always work out. So now what they're going to do is actually something that we saw yesterday, if you didn't watch yesterday's show. A wraparound behind the tier 1. This is so potent, even if the tier 1 isn't there. It just, offlaners don't expect this. Also putting the ward right here is phenomenally good. Like, you don't expect that as an offlaner, like, ever. So if somebody is coming and just does that to you, like, it's really hard to expect. It looks like we've got a Rubik here expecting it, but look at this. This Shallow Grave saves so many lives. Alright, I actually want to point out what happened, why this is so cool, and like I said, why I like Dazzle so much, personally. So, AUI 2000 gets jumped on by Rubik, basically says, hey, let's go, everybody. Rubik dies, but AUI 2000 gets lassoed, heals up, so he took all of the damage from Resolution right there, but still didn't die. Pilot Die was able to survive because he wasn't getting focus, and then Eternal Envy, it looks like he's going to die by Mag. But if we look, the clutch smoke by Pilot Die blends them both out, and he's able to get the kill on Centaur as well. So that one Shallow Grave was able to save all 3 of their lives, essentially. Because if AUI 2000 would have died earlier, then Pilot Die would have died. If Pilot Die would have died and AUI 2000 would have died, Eternal Envy would have been left by himself, and he can't really 1v1 a Magnet or a Centaur right now. I always get confused. Mag is the player name, but he plays not Magnus every game. So yeah. Anyway, let's keep on going. We've got a lot to get into, so I just want to go through. Dazzle is able to get the money to pick up an urn, and he picks up more sentry wards. So when you're ahead, get more ahead. And the best way to do that is to break the enemy's vision line. Like, he did not pick up Observer Wards. In fact, they were on cooldown, but you generally want to try and get the sentries down wherever you think there might be wards. Because if you can de-ward the enemy, it's really awesome. Like, you don't realize how much power you have until you get de-warded by the enemy team. It just gives everybody so much space to farm. And right now, he's just, since nobody's here in the middle lane and he's able to pick up some last hits, pick up some experience, he did pick up his level 6 there. So, and this is one thing about AUI 2000 that I like as a support above other supports, is that AUI 2000 knows how to get farm. Like, as a support, he knows how to get the farm without disrupting anybody else. Like, there's nobody else in mid lane. Like, he's got people elsewhere, but you can't really get anything done down bottom because we've got, you know, we've got a nice safe tri lane down here. The two supports are both down here. Can't do anything in the jungle because I'd be stealing experience. So he just goes and he sits in middle lane, grabs experience, and he stacks this large camp. Like, whenever you can, stack a camp as a support. It doesn't really... You may not notice how important it is to have just stacks laying around, but whenever you can stack a camp as a support. Generally the large camp. Essentially, you just doubled your carry's farm of that camp. So AUI 2000 was farming here, and he still got surprised by Resolution's 11-minute Blink Dagger, which is actually a really, really good timing for that Blink Dagger, considering that he got ganked and killed a couple of times before that. So he was still able to get everything up early, and honestly, AUI 2000 probably didn't expect that yet, and that's why he just got caught off guard. Because usually, whenever you die, you can say any item that you are going to get is usually delayed by like a minute or two. That's just the general rule. Like, if somebody's going for a big item, if you die, your item gets delayed by a couple of minutes. It depends on how late into the game you are, and if you buy back, it's a buyback essentially costs an entire item or a piece to a big item. So that's a good way to think about it. Like, if you're buying a heart, a buyback costs a vitality booster, or, you know, it costs the Yasha for Manta style even, because you die buyback, and if you die again, then it literally costs that much. So Bone 7's able to pick up his Blink Dagger, which as an offlane puck isn't bad either. He's been having I guess it's only 11 last hits, but there are a couple towers down, so that helps. And as we can see right here, AUI 2000 is just going and just basically it's going to be transitioning a lot more into just helping out the team now. So I'm probably just going to stop playing this game here in just a little bit, show off a little bit more of what's going on, but you get the idea. Yeah, so cool. Go ahead and just watch this one last team engagement. Maybe, nope. Okay, so watch him get one more kill, and there you go. So I'm gonna actually cut out of this game. I will let you guys know that, I mean, I guess I don't want to spoil the game in case you guys want to watch it, but yeah, it pretty much just follows the same suit from here. Once you get out of the laning phase, the support job becomes a lot more straightforward. It's just ward, de-ward, and stay alive. That's really the main key things, is that the longer a game goes into, the closer you have to stay to your teammates. A support doesn't really have to stay close to their allies early on, but as the game goes on, you have to stay closer to your allies. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut into the second game. We get a good idea of just how AUI plays that initial support and is able to go through that. Let's see, and the second game we've got today is from Star Ladder Season 9. It's a game against Q Cyber Insane Gaming. And honestly, I didn't really hear much about Q Cyber Insane Gaming before this, or much at all, really. So I'm going to go ahead and just hop into the game. It's from Star Ladder Season 9. So that's where I'm pulling it from. This is on it's on Twitch as well as YouTube for Starladder 9. I don't remember who's casting this, but when we hop into the game here in a second, I'll be able to tell you who are the casters for this game. It looks like it's got Mout is casting from Beyond the Summit. So if you want to watch this game, go ahead and watch it on Beyond the Summit. But I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about AUI 2000 some more. Bam! So you guys can play like AUI. Yeah, so actually that brings up a point. Fun fact: I actually played against AUI 2000 right before TI3, I think it was. I played a solo matchmaking to give you an idea of what it was. So I played a solo matchmaking against him. I was a support Rubik. He was a mid warlock, and he got like Scepter Refresher like 20 minutes into the game. I swear, it was awesome. But anyway, we got crushed, literally, with rocks. It was still fun though. Like honestly, whenever I get a chance to play with him against pros, it's awesome. And yeah, AUI 2000. He's a really, really versatile player too. He's played as hard carry, like mid support on all sorts of teams. So like he knows the game through and through, and he's a very, very technical player. Like he analyzes, he does like the little things, which is why he's such a consistent player, because he knows what to do, when to do, type of thing. Yeah, he's kind of like Merlini in that sense, is that he just knows the numbers inherently, and he exercises that, puts it into action. He doesn't, like I said, he doesn't go for the glory. He doesn't YOLO or whatever. He just goes and he just plays so that he can get the best statistical advantage at any given point in time. So he's very much like, hey, if I do this, I have a, this is better, this is better, this is better. So just best case scenario every time, and I love it, actually. It's a very, very consistent style of play. Like I said, no big playmakers, but, it actually lends up to a lot of wins and a lot of, you can trust him as a teammate. And that's a huge thing, and that's obviously really helps out for Cloud9. He's just such a consistent player that they just go for it. So anyway, back into the game, we can see that AUI 2000 gets Visage this game. So AUI 2000, along with Fluff and Stuff, were pretty much the only two heroes that ever played Visage until Visage got popular. It was mostly Fluff and Stuff, a little bit of AUI 2000. But once Visage got popular, he was like first pick, first ban every single game. He actually got nerfs, so he's hard to play in pub games. Like I enjoy playing Visage in pub games quite a bit, but I can tell you, since his base armor got nerfed to like 0 or -1, it is literally -1 armor at level 1. He has negative armor. He gets hit with more than 100% damage from physical attacks at level 1. That's the kind of nerfs that he got because of his Gravekeeper's Cloak is actually really, really powerful. He gives you, up to 20 armor when you max that out for the first hit. So it's just he wasn't dying and he had crazy nuke potential. So he got rebalanced at the pro level, which makes the non-pro level a little harder, which is why you don't usually see Visage in games. Also, micro. Most people don't like to micro or are not comfortable microing. So they don't. I mean, it's just... It takes a different skill set to learn how to micro that kind of thing. So we can check out the lineup right here. We've got the Batrider for Bone 7, and then we've got AUI 2000 on the Visage, Sing Sing on Invoker. We've got hey, I got this one. C9 Grisaya TT. So Eternal Envy is crying, but he's Grisaya. And he's on the Luna, and then we've got Paladai on the Lion. So go ahead and hop into the game. So this game, I wanted to show you a little bit of a different style. I will tell you, this game, Visage actually gets a decent amount of farm. And it's partially because of the nature of the hero. So the hero itself works... Like Vengeful Spirit, actually even more so than Vengeful Spirit, it works really well with farm, especially levels. Once you hit that level 6 on Visage, you are just a monster. Your familiars can solo an enemy support. That's how powerful Visage is. Like, his familiars, his ultimate can just solo any support anywhere on the map at level 6, essentially. And they don't take any spell damage, so they only get killed by physical damage. And he scales well with items too. I played him mid once. It was surprisingly amazing. But he does scale well with items because of his Graveskeeper cloak and his Grave Shell. His Grave Shell gives him attack speed and move speed. And if you get a minus armor set and a scepter on him, you get a third bird and you get more armor reduction, so you can just nail people with damage. Popular pickup we've seen recently is people will get Drow Ranger with Visage because you get that full plus damage on the Visage familiars and it makes them even more potent. So let's go ahead and hop back in to the game. Player's perspective. Let's check out AUI 2000 on this Visage. So, like I said, this game is going to be a little different. So he buys pretty much the same items as last time. He buys Sentry Wars, Tangos, and Branches. He's going to give 2 Tangos, 2 Sing Sing, so that Sing Sing can get a lot of base damage. One thing about Invoker is he does need a lot of base damage in order to dominate his lane early on. That's probably his biggest weakness. His base damage is still decent, but it's not anything compared to like a Puck, who's I think sitting at like 62 or 59 base damage at level 1. And with higher base damage, you get more last hits. You get more last hits, you win the lane better. You win the lane better, you win the game better. So base damage makes a huge difference in heroes. And other heroes like Naga Siren, for example, got her base damage reduced by a lot. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back into the game. So what they're doing right now is they're just scouting out the enemy jungle, placing a sentry at the large camp just so that they can't farm it up. There's no, I mean, they don't even have a jungler on the team, but just having the fact that you can't stack and pull that camp, or even like set it up maybe with like Disruptor and Sand King, is really good. Recently, since the buff to Sandstorm, we've been seeing a lot more Sand Kings who are able to do work in the jungle and get farmed that way. See, at 25, 50, 75, 100. So it's almost a Radiance when you put a Sandstorm to level 2. It's pretty good, you know, in 20 seconds, or 30 seconds, I guess, you can kill a large stacked camp when you're level 3. So that's really good. It's actually almost as fast as a Wildkin Tornado. So anyway, let's get into the game. We've got Eternal Envy and AUI 2000 up here at the top. And the name of the game is the same as always. Get the offlaner out of here. So they saw the Ion Shell at level 1, which immediately says, hey guys, let's go kill. Because, yeah, there's an Ion Shell on, I forget which creep, but there's an Ion Shell there, which means that he does not have Speed Burst. Like, he does not have Surge. So you can just sit right here. Like, I will bet you that AUI 2000 just sits right there. Oh, look, there he goes. Bam, I was right. No, anyway, so he just sits right here, and TPOH, he's a stand-in for Q Insane, so I don't know too much about him, but he almost dies here because he didn't expect that. He did not expect both of them to still be right here, but the power of these two heroes in particular is that there's an Ember Spirit mid, and Pilot Eye has a smoke. So they sit right here and right here. If Darkseer comes up, they kill Darkseer. If Darkseer does not come up, they can smoke mid, like, whenever they want, pretty much. They do have an Invoker mid, and like I was talking about earlier, is that Invoker mid wants to get a few levels, so they probably won't gank until level 4. I mean, they could gank now at level 3 since he has Forge Spirit and Cold Snap. But once Invoker hits level 4 or so, probably going to see a gank coming on, because level 2 Cold Snap is good. With 2 points in cost, I forget how much better it gets, but it just feels better whenever I play on Invoker. It lasts an extra half a second, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So AUI 2000 on rune checking duty. He just wanted to check the rune to make sure that the enemy didn't get it. Then he's going to go back up here and hide. And there, look at this. Darkseer has 0 experience 3 minutes into the game. But here comes the smoke. Same time as last time, 2:42. I think that was the exact same second as last time. It's just a really good time to go and smoke gank because you have, like I said, you have like level 4 on your mid hero usually at that time. So he just hit level 4 and he goes aggressive on him. There's the Hex and then there's the Grave Chill and dead. So that's the power of this kind of tri lane, especially like I said with the smoke, is that you can create pressure on the map elsewhere without really sacrificing much. But I can say if they were not successful with that gank, they would have given almost an entire level to Darkseer. Once Darkseer hits level 2, he is safe in this lane. Essentially, he will get his surge and he will be able to run away. He has 3 seconds of hasted move speed, even through the slow of AUI 2000. And generally, he can probably outrun the Impale from Lion as well. So he can get hexed, but he will still move at haste speed. And he's safe once he hits level 2 on the Darkseer. So what's going to happen is, once Darkseer hits level 2, it's not really a goal to kill him anymore. It's just, you know, minimize his experience. AUI 2000 hides in his safe spot right here. And see, Darkseer comes out like this. He has the surge, so he's able to just run through the slow move speed. Get right through. Always look for stacks. He stacks it. It's really good with a Luna on the team because the glaives will bounce, especially with changes to the glaives where they bounce. They can hit units more than once now, so they can bounce back and forth between 2 units. Once Eternal Envy gets like level 8 or 9 or so, he'll be able to just clear out any triple stack camp that he wants to. He already has a Helm of the Dominator 5 minutes in, so he's looking to just stack ancient stack camps and just farm up.
Dyer's bottom tower's getting the business.
So here's where a little switch goes on. Luna is actually taking down that creep camp right now. She took one of the creeps and then is farming the rest of it. AUI 2000 is going to get priority to farm. And this is where, even as a support, getting last hits is essential. Like, being able to last hit under a tower is really a good skill to have. It's a useful skill to have. But especially as a support, you don't get as many opportunities to get gold. So you have to make sure that every single last hit counts. Like, any chance you get a last hit, you go for the last hit, because, you know, even 50 gold can make a difference to a support. Generally, just one set of 50 gold doesn't make a difference to a carry. But missing one last hit as a support means you might not get those wards out. Cause a death by the enemy team. Or a kill from the enemy team. You see this Darkseer is just afraid for his life in this lane. He's popping a skill, he's hiding in the trees, and he's just ready to surge out. And so, we've got... Yeah, he's just farming right now, like, because of the fact that Eternal Envy can just go into the jungle. And that's, yeah, he doesn't have to worry about anything, really. Eternal Envy goes into the jungle. He's getting levels there. It's able to free up AUI 2000 to just farm the lane and get the experience and gold there, which is really good because, as you can see, we're going to see like a 9-minute level 6 on a support, which is really good. If you get level 6 by 10 minutes on a support, you're doing okay. Yeah, he's able to get level 6 at 9 minutes because of that. There's sub 9 minutes. And with level 6, they're going to be able to not only pressure the Darkseer, but potentially push the tower down. So, like I said, in this game in general, AUI's actually switching more into a core role because he's actually farming the lane. But that's because his carry can farm in the jungle and is farming in the jungle right here. And also stacking the ancients over here. So Eternal Envy is able to get plenty of gold and plenty of experience. It's not quite as much as if he were in lane, but he is leveling up his Moonglaive in order to do that. but it gives a lot more experience overall because now AUI's able to get some, and he's able to do a lot with this. Level 4 Soul Assumption, Tranquil Boots, and Medallion. Means that they can actually do Roshan soon if they want to. So yeah, AUI 2000's farming up right now. Not really much going on, he's just farming. I don't know, I don't really have much else to say besides the fact that he's farming. Eternal Envy is able to... Oh, sorry. Let's go back. Let's check out what's going on here. So, yeah, Sing Sing coming up just to take out the Darkseer, potentially, but actually they smoked up to try and counter it, so they go on Sing Sing. Sing Sing gets ulted by Sand King, but Eternal Envy up on this high ground with his ult. And then throughout this all, Visage is able to bring his familiars in, snipe off the Darkseer, and use the damage from killing the Darkseer in order to kill off the Disruptor. Now, the thing about Visage familiars is that they have a ton of burst damage, but their damage goes down as they attack. He has plus 56, but that goes down each time they attack. And so he's able to rack up a bunch of burst damage and then just burst him down with Soul Assumption right after. But that time he was able to rack up the burst damage on Darkseer and then pop the Disruptor with it. So another power of the familiars is that they're actually pretty good pushing tools. They can't take damage. They only have 300 health and not much armor too. So they're not meant to take damage, and they're expensive if they die. You get 100 gold for each of them, and excuse me, you get 100 gold for each of them, and they have a 180-second cooldown. That's so, like, if they die within 3 minutes of you summoning them, you are without an ultimate for quite some time. But this is, see, he's able to do this while at the same time scouting out here, picking up his point booster. He's getting a pretty low farm.
The Radiant got one last top tower.
They were able to take out the tier 1s and tier 2s. As you can see, this game is going pretty well for Cloud9. I just wanted to show you guys like what different roles as support you can have. Another player who plays this kind of support a lot is EGM. More so in the past than as of recently. But he has played a lot of like Windrunners, and he has EGM's Windrunner support is phenomenal, and he plays a similar style when he plays like a Windrunner support, or like I think he's even played like Naga Siren support that gets like pretty much turns into a core hero late game. That was one of Alliance's strategies around TI3, was to get EGM a lot of farm, and then Aki was like the number 5 support, but they would prioritize their heroes differently. They'd prioritize Admiral Bulldog for farm earlier on, and then prioritize EGM later on to get like a mechanism for staff, phase boots, that type of thing, like to get all of that on heavy support. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward from here on out, honestly. I just wanted to show you that you can actually farm lanes as supports, and if you have a good lineup, you can, if one of your heroes can hop in the jungle and the other one can take the experience where it goes. But yeah, he's 3-0 and 3, has a scepter, almost. But they're gonna go ahead and kill Rush. They get a scepter. Yeah, that's about this whole game. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut out of this game too, just to freshen things up, keep it lively and going. Yeah. So cool. All right. Awesome. Alrighty. So sorry about that. Cool. So this game is pretty much over. I'm gonna go ahead and hop into game number 3. So this game is a game against Roxkiss in the Join Dota League. Let's go ahead and pull up the game. And beautiful thing that I like about watching Roxkiss play is that they have Gold Black, and he is the most entertaining drafter ever, like of all time to me. So I really like watching Gold Black's drafts. If you want to watch this game, join Dota League. It's on Join Dota, their YouTube channel, joindota.com, also on Twitch, or you can get it as an in-game ticket. It's only $3, I think. So it's not that bad. It's a pretty cheap ticket to get as well. And let's see, trying to figure out who they have for the. They have Jet as the caster. I don't know if I've heard of him before, but anyway, let's go ahead and hop into the game.
5 seconds.
All right, so here we've got Roxkiss versus Cloud9. Let me go ahead and actually hop into the game. Boom. Okay. Cool. Yeah, we are in the game. So, like I said, the drafts aren't terribly important here. I just want to focus on AUI 2000's hero, which is the Crystal Maiden. Crystal Maiden is a really interesting hero in the fact that she's one of the few heavy supports that can jungle. Her Frostbite will do the full duration, or 7-second duration to creeps, 10-second duration to creeps, so it's 700 damage to creeps. And with that, she's able to sit in the jungle, get some farm when there's not action going on. Crystal Maiden is one of the best gankers in the game as far as supports goes. She does not scale really well into the late game, but she's really good at ganking early on, taking the jungle, and just like being able to get farm early on. She's pretty much guaranteed to. Kind of like how Lich is always able to get experience early on, Crystal Maiden is able to get gold and experience early on, but she also has a disable in the Frostbite. So she has more burst damage than Lich, but it's not as guaranteed that experience for Crystal Maiden. She can still get it, but it's not as quick as Lich, and it doesn't deny the experience from the enemy team as well. So that's why Crystal Maiden was picked up all of the time, is that her versatility is just amazing, and she's one of the best early game heroes, but falls off pretty quickly later on. So we'll go ahead and just skip through this actual lineup. Just so you guys get an idea of what we've got here as far as players goes. We've got AUI 2000 on Crystal Maiden, and then they've got a Timbersaw, Earthshaker, Mirana, and we've got Eternal Envy, Grisaya, TT again, on the Naga Siren. So the nice thing about this kind of lineup right here is that all of these heroes are very mana intensive. Like, they all use a ton of mana, and with the Arcane Aura, AUI 2000, without even roaming or going into different lanes, is going to be able to help them out, especially the Earthshaker, who only has 208 full mana, and this gives just straight mana regeneration, 1 to 2.5. So that's actually a really good benefit to their team as far as their team makeup goes. But AUI 2000, again, he buys Tangos, he buys 2 Clarities as the Crystal Maiden. Most people, when they get a hero like a Crystal Maiden or a Keeper of the Light, they don't get extra mana for it, and I personally believe that's not a good idea. Like, you want to have that extra mana. So he does pick up 2 Clarities, and it lets him be as aggressive as he wants early on. Keeper of the Light is a similar idea. Like, you get your Illuminate at level 1, and then you get your 2 points into your mana at level 2 and 3, unless you need mana leak. You just get that mana at level 2 and 3, and then you're able to have pretty much infinite mana. But until you're level 3, you do not. Similar thing with Crystal Maiden. She has a pretty limited mana pool. Like, right now, she will be able to get 2 casts of Frostbite before level 3, essentially, or I guess before level 2. She'll be able to get 2 casts of Frostbite, and then she might regenerate enough mana. But with the Clarities, each Clarity gives her another cast of the Frostbite. So she's able to put constant aggression on the lane. And because it's probably going to be just a Darkseer early game, then it's not a problem. AUI 2000 is just sitting up here, waiting for the rune to spawn. He is... So, the goal as a support as usual, his first goal is to make sure that his safe laner gets farm. It'll be a lot easier with the Mirana because Mirana is good against the Darkseer in lane. The Ion Shell really disrupts melee carries, but ranged heroes don't care nearly as much because they don't have to take the damage to get the last hits. This is really cool what AUI 2000 does here. He takes out this tree to stack this camp so that he can immediately go back and saves that few seconds to get extra damage on Darkseer and deny experience. Now this Darkseer, unlike last game, is actually getting experience, so he's off to a good start. He's already level 2. He's not up against the tri-lane, and Darkseer not up against the tri-lane is probably going to get some good farm. AUI 2000's positioning right here is just, he's going to constantly harass the Darkseer, try to get a frostbite off whenever he can, just to try and get that lane out. And here, he has already used his first clarity, but since Darkseer has no range, he doesn't have to worry about the clarity really being dispelled much. One thing you do have to watch as a support is you have to watch for when this creep wave comes. This creep wave will hit you about 25 seconds after the creep camp spawns. So at like 55 and 25, the camp will be near you, and you have to make sure that you're not harassing the enemy hero or by here at that time, because you will pull the creep camp and you will push the lane and you'll take damage. And both of those are really, really bad, and you just want to space out your attacks in between that. So he's got like a 20-second, 15-second window here to attack, and he's going to take advantage of it, just zoning him out of the lane, making sure that he doesn't get any of the experience. But as you can see, as the time gets closer to the creep wave coming, he's just going to pull on back. See, right now, what AUI 2000 is doing is he's just keeping a space. He's got the hero back here, it's his carry, he's got the creep wave, and then he's got himself. He'll sit right here in this area, and he'll go up farther as needed. Right now he's just checking the side shop to make sure that Darkseer isn't there, and also able to pick up Boots of Speed already before the 3-minute mark, which is really not too bad at all. I mean, he hasn't even gotten any last hits or anything, but just by not dying, he was able to pick up Boots of Speed and a TP scroll to be able to help out anywhere else that's needed, because this lane is going very swimmingly for them. He does scout up the Darkseer going this way, so he knows that the lane is going to be safe for a bit, and he's going to be able to pull this way. But if he doesn't get that stack, he's just going to be able to go to that large camp and go to the large camp. So one thing that AUI 2000 doesn't do here is he doesn't get hit by one of these range creeps. If he would have gotten hit by one of these harpies, he would have actually pulled the entire creep wave, which would have been a lot better for him. He may have intended to just pull half the creep wave, I don't know for sure, but generally, especially when you have the catapult, you don't want to just pull part of the wave, because this catapult, as you'll see, it's spawned at 3 minutes. It will stay alive for a long time because it doesn't get close enough to the creeps to take consistent damage. So AUI 2000 sees the Darkseer back in lane, and he's able to he's just harassing him. Like, this is the goal. Harass, stay alive. Any second the Darkseer is not in lane is good for both Sing Sing and AUI 2000. So his goal, like, AUI 2000 is completely content with just keeping Darkseer in this area. It doesn't matter to him. Like, he will do that just to take the damage. See, this Siege Catapult is messing up this pull, so like he can't pull that at all. It's been over a minute just with that catapult there. But the creep wave is in a fairly good spot right now. Like, it's sitting right here, even with Darkseer pushing it. Sing Sing is putting more last hits to counteract this push. He's just right-clicking more and more. Let's see. Also, as we can see, be able to pick up a magic stick. I think who bought the? I don't even know. It could have been, actually could have been the Pilot Die bought it. He doesn't have any items right now, so I assume he bought it. So now AUI 2000 able to pull at the 13-second mark. So his goal, he's just going to be able to farm up, get some levels. Since they do have an Ember Spirit, I mean, it would be hard to gank, especially with the Flame Guard. That's 200 extra hit points, so we were looking at like an 850 hit point swing to kill. And Crystal Maiden just doesn't have enough damage to do that. She has 100 damage, and then she has, you know, another 100 damage from that. So it's just not enough damage between that and Eternal Envy, Naga Siren. So they're content with just farming right now. In fact, you're going to be able to get a triple stack. This is really awesome. So Eternal or AUI 2000 right here, he pulls this at 53, which means it's going to stack this camp. He's able to kill this, and then check out this other little thing he does. He goes right up here, right at the 6-minute mark, and checks the rune. That kind of insight takes a lot of time and a lot of just forward looking in order to do. He was able to do 3 things there. So AUI 2000 was able to do 3 things there. 3 things. Within a 10-second period. He was able to stack the large camp. He was able to kill the medium camp and pull his creep wave to that 3rd camp. And he was able to check the rune. So by doing all 3 of those things at the same time, he denied the Darkseer more experience. Sing Sing is farming safely in the bottom lane. There's nobody down there. Darkseer can't really contest that much. Darkseer's probably moved into the jungle. Actually, let's take a look into the game. And yeah, Darkseer had to move back into the jungle because he just wasn't getting enough experience, and he wasn't able to shut down. He wasn't able to shut down the Mirana at all. AUI 2000 did a good job of making sure that Darkseer got not enough experience to be able to cause a threat to Sing Sing, and Sing Sing's Mirana was able to stay out of the range of the Iron Shell and not have to worry about taking damage. So Darkseer was getting nothing done in the lane and has to go back into the jungle. And in the meantime, AUI 2000 can go into the jungle as well. And by going into the jungle, he is going to be able to get some experience from these camps. So he already used his Frostbite once on this creep. He'll probably pull it back to max range and then use a Frostbite again. And then this will just, I mean, we'll be able to see, actually. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay, cool. Yep. He just got his 74 gold, and he's just pulling the camp back and forth. Like, Sing Sing is free farming, you know. He's right here. He's got like, AUI 2000 has a TP scroll in case something like this happens, and he's able to help out Bone 7. It's hard to tell if he's going to be able to help out Bone 7 because it is an enemy Weaver, and he has no detection of any form. So he's just stacking and pulling right now. There's not too much else for him to do. So he's just stacking and pulling. And stacking and pulling. This one he actually single pulled and he nuked down the creep wave. And Pylai is rotating down here as well. Since Darkseer has left the lane and abandoned it, they are going to push this lane. And this will do one of 2 things. This will either give them the tower for free. Actually, it could do both of these things. Give them the tower for free. Force TPs and rotations. And maybe even potentially get a kill. Like, they probably won't get a kill, but they'll be able to force 2 heroes down here because 1 hero by himself won't be able to stop this. Between AUI 2000's nuke and Sing Sing's nuke, they're able to kill creep waves almost instantly. And as you can see, they're able to get this tower. Pylai is standing very aggressively up here. This is insanely aggressive, but they are doing pretty well this game. At least Pylai feels like he's doing well. He's got Boots of Speed, and he's got Sing Sing and AUI 2000 to back him up. So unless he gets jumped by like 3 heroes, he'll probably be okay. And then they're gonna just try and keep pushing, trying to get more heroes up here. So I don't think they know about this Lich yet. Actually, might have barely spotted him, but Pylai is standing very aggressively up here. Then Sing Sing and AUI 2000 are just trying to pressure this lane more and more. And once they see a 3rd hero coming up, so I don't know if they caught sight of Solo coming up, but once they do see Solo coming up, it's just like, okay guys, we're going. So Earthshaker TP's out, and then Sing Sing and AUI 2000 just away. Yeah, so tower, rotation from mid, and they got Darkseer and Lich to come here. So that creates space for Timbersaw. Well, Timbersaw is just against the Solo Weaver, and then, you know, mid lane is completely free for Eternal Envy to do whatever he wants. And right now, AUI 2000 is just nuking down that wave as quickly as possible. He's using his mana, so as a Crystal Maiden, once you get like level 2 or level 3 Arcane Aura, you pretty much have unlimited mana. You can see he's bursting down all of these creeps. Just blasting them with mana. 4.1 mana regen per second. That's huge. That means like every 30 seconds you get enough mana for another spell. I mean, he almost has enough for another Frost Nova, and he was out of mana, like completely out of mana. Tranquil Boots on the Crystal Maiden. So he's getting really, really good farm. 16 last hits, which is a lot for a support 10 minutes into a game. He did try to go for the stack again, but he didn't get it because of the vision. So he just gets farm where Sing Sing's not. But it looks like the Weaver is doing a lot of work, and they'll have to focus on him pretty soon. Eternal Envy's getting some good farm. He's got 40 last hits. And then Sing Sing's getting great farm. 60 last hits, 25 denies, 10 minutes in. So Sing Sing was able to get completely free farm. And what he's going to do is he's going to create space for Eternal Envy just by taking out the mid. So Weaver's probably going to just jump in, maybe get a kill. But AUI 2000 is just down here pushing his lane. Honestly, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. AUI 2000 should TP down and try and help out. So Weaver is tower diving. Go Black's amazing draft. Picks up the Treant Protector. But this cost Weaver his life. Like, he dove way deep in order to get Sing Sing some Mirana. And if he had not died, that would have been amazingly good for Rock's Kiss and not good at all for Cloud9. But since they were able to kill Weaver directly after, that just swung a lot of gold into Eternal Enemy's hand. He got 522 gold from that. So, yeah, it's a big swing. Another thing, he also picks up the Urn. I don't know if I got a chance to let you guys see it, but in the first game, Dazzle does pick up an Urn as well. As a support in a game, or your team should have certain items every single game. You should have an Urn on either your number 5 or number 4 position, unless you have like a Pudge or a Spirit Breaker who's always fighting. You should get an Urn on somebody, and you should get a mech on somebody. As far as like item requirements goes, that's what I would say. You don't always have to get the Urn, not necessarily, but you should always get the mechanism. And getting the Urn on a support hero is phenomenally good. Basically, every time somebody dies, you get 2 salves. And that just gives you so much breathing space to get your health back, get your allies to stay in lane. They don't have to go back and waste a minute outside of lane. You just heal them up and then they go. So getting the Urn is probably one of the most underrated items in the game, I think. It's amazing what you can do if you get an early Urn. Oh, another thing is always cancel an enemy's TP. If they're TPing somewhere, cancel it. Unless you know they're TPing to a bad spot, always, always, always try to cancel an enemy TP if you're not in danger with the cancel. Because even if you don't know where they're going or what they're doing, in the enemy's mind, him TPing somewhere else means that he wants to be somewhere else more than he wants to be where he's at right now. And if you cancel that, you will disrupt the enemy's thought, and they can't do what they wanted to do. Like I said, you don't want to assume your opponent is bad. You want to assume your opponent is always doing the correct thing. So if you cancel their TP, that means they wanted to do something, and if you assume they know what they're doing, they wanted to do something to help their team out. Always cancel a TP if it's safe. Always, always, always cancel a TP of the enemy if it's safe. It doesn't even matter. Like, yeah, you just always should cancel a TP because it will cost them 135 gold. They won't be able to rotate for 60 seconds, and it will throw them off their game. So it's phenomenal. Like, just the little things like that can make a huge, huge difference. So yeah, Solo actually ended up walking up top instead of using the TP scroll to give you an idea of what ended up happening with him. He was going to TP up here to the tier 1, and then he just got it canceled, and then he went and walked there. So it cost him like another 10 or 20 seconds, which is, half of a creep wave. So AUI 2000 always carries sentries on him and always carries observers. So he's able to just drop these sentries, and this is going to give them control against the Weaver, even though Weaver is able to time-lapse out. it's still always having a sentry means that they're never in danger from getting caught off guard from Weaver. They're still in danger of dying, yes. They're still in danger of a lot of things, but he walks back to town just to buy 2 more sentries. That was the only reason he walked back to town. He might have needed mana, but his main reason was, hey, they have a Weaver on the map, let's always have sentries. Same thing with Naga Siren. So he walks back up here, and he's able to get these urn charges. You'll see, like, soon how important these urn charges are, and at just keeping the pressure up and keeping the win going. Murano is able to get an arrow. Tree goes down. And then Weaver is doing really well from his early start, but we'll see. Where are you? AUI 2000 is stuck over here. This happens from time to time as a support when you're playing, is that you get stuck in a position that you don't want to, where you can't really help your team, but you can't really go back into the fight, or else you'll die to all of these heroes everywhere. So AUI 2000 is just like stuck over here. He's trying to get back in the mid lane, but and when he finally does, he meets up with the Weaver, immediately TP's out. Even though the Weaver had like the same amount of hit points as him, or even more, AUI 2000 cannot solo the Weaver. The Weaver, best case scenario, Weaver will run away from low hit points and probably chase you down because he's invisible most of the time.
No breaking down the radiant.
Worst case scenario is you'll die for free. So, yeah. Here we've got AUI 2000 just runs back in lane, is able to pick up a kill. I guess they're able to pick up a kill on the Weaver. But another reason why Ember Spirit is picked up a lot is that kind of power. Like, this is the power of the urn. So Ember Spirit is really good at just harassing supports back to base. But with this urn, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Like, AUI 2000's back up. He's already at full hit points again. Just from that one, just from the one kill. So now we're kind of out of the actual laning phase. Everybody has their items, and it's just more into like, well, let's go fight some more. Yeah. And let's see. So AUI 2000, more sentries. So we'll just go ahead and watch a little bit more of this. I wanted to go over just like AUI 2000's early game pretty much, and just show like what he does and just how it's like solid and consistent gameplay, very calculated gameplay. He doesn't take like that many risks, but he also doesn't die at all. Look, as a support, he's 2-0-2 on Crystal Maiden. How many times can you say you played a game and didn't die as Crystal Maiden? Not very many, usually, because she has no natural defense outside of Frostbite. But being able to play defensively and safely, he usually is safe. Until this might be bad for him, though. Being caught out of position once means you're probably dead. So he uses his ult, which I'm sure you guys enjoy the fact that my ult is Let It Go from Frozen. I do have a few sound mods in this game, which I'm used to, but I'm sure a lot of people aren't. Naga Siren's Sleep to me is Jigglypuff from Pokemon, so I do enjoy custom sounds quite a bit, but AUI 2000 did go down there. So a couple things about AUI 2000's just skill build in general. So if you notice, he went 1-1-1 at level 3. Actually, we can go back and check out kind of what his skill build was. So he went 1-1-1 at level 3. Level 7, he has maxed out Crystal Nova, 2 in Arcane Aura, 1 in Frostbite, none in his ultimate. He does not get his ultimate early because there's a couple of reasons behind that. So most heroes you want to get your ultimate at level 6, just because it's the best skill you have. Crystal Maiden's ultimate is actually really powerful. Even at level 1, it does 105 damage every second. So it's amazingly powerful, but the problem is twofold about her ultimate, getting it at level 6. If you get her ultimate at level 6, you have to stand still to use it. And Crystal Maiden standing still, she's already like the slowest hero in the game. besides Techies, once they come out, who has 280. Crystal Maiden has 285 move speed base. I mean, she's like the slowest hero ever. And if you're not running, you're probably dead, Crystal Maiden. Like, or walking, I guess, strutting along at a slow, steady pace. You're probably dead as a Crystal Maiden. So having to stand still to use your ultimate as a Crystal Maiden means you're probably going to die soon. It's just, that's how it goes. Like, either you're going to die or the entire enemy team is going to die. Early on, at least. And early on, also, you don't find that many opportunities for big 5v5 team engagements, which is where the ultimate takes its biggest power. Being able to, if you can hide in a spot and use your ultimate without getting stunned, you can do massive damage to the team. I think it was in the TI3 qualifiers, Fluff and Stuff on Crystal Maiden, at a Roshan fight, was able to get an ultra kill with Crystal Maiden's ult. Like, as a support, being able to get an ultra kill. Just incredible damage. But you have to stand still, it's dangerous, and it works exponentially better the more enemies they have. So instead, you can just bump up another level of your Nova. Your Nova will do, at that point, it will do about as much damage as like 3 seconds of your ultimate. So you can just cast your Nova and then keep walking, Frostbite. And that's why people don't always get their Crystal Maiden's ult at level 6. I have done a couple of different builds with Crystal Maiden. One I like to do if we have a very, very, very mana-intensive lineup is to get max out your aura first, put 1 point in Nova, 1 point in Frostbite, but get your ultimate at level 6. Because of that, you can actually, you have killing potential earlier on as Crystal Maiden, but you're helping out your team a lot more. It's a very, very defensive approach. But the general approach is to max out Crystal Nova, 1 point in Frostbite, and put your extra points in Aura. Once you get a few points in Aura, then you can get your ultimate at like level 8 or level 9, just because by that time, it's usually like time to fight. Or at least there may be a team engagement. And if you have your ultimate, you just cast your Nova, cast your ultimate, and you can do like 600, 700 AoE damage. Potentially killing off a couple people, maybe dying, maybe not dying. So that's my 2 cents as far as Crystal Maiden builds go. She's has a very, very versatile build order. You can build her pretty much however you want, but I would recommend staying away from a lot of levels of Frostbite unless you really need the lockdown, because it only gets an extra half a second per level. I think that's all the duration it gets. Yeah, it just gets an extra half of a second, and it costs an extra 10, 15 mana every time. So it's expensive. The Nova costs 20 more mana every time, but its slow duration goes up, and its damage goes up by 50 every time. So it gets more damage in the entire AoE, and it slows for up to 5 seconds. Like I said, if you actually need the Frostbite's lockdown, then you can bump it up, you know, whenever as needed. But in general, it just doesn't really pay off as much. So I think that's about all I have to talk about. That's in a nutshell AUI 2000 support. Yeah. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and end it there. If anyone wants to ask me questions, I'm in the Twitch chat, so if you happen to respond in the Twitch chat, awesome, phenomenal. I will answer your questions now. If not, send an email to RoopleeTV@gmail.com, and yeah, let me know. I'm always up for suggestions on what more I can do for the show. I really want to get it out and just let everybody know. So if you like this show, subscribe, tell your friends, everything like that. I want to continue doing more of these shows, and I want to help everybody out and being able to look at everything as best as possible. Like, I want everybody to be the best gamers they can possibly be. And I need you guys, honestly. Like, I want you guys to give me feedback on what I don't do well, what I do well, what you want to see. Like, I understand there are a lot of people, you know, in wherever you're at, it's called the MMR trench or whatever, trying to figure out how to get better. And honestly, like, I want to help you guys out too. technically we're all in the Dota trench, right? Unless you're a professional player. I guess even Dendy, his MMR has been going down recently, so he's in there with everybody else. So, I just want to say, like, hey, I'll help you guys out. You can help me out. It'll be fantastic. We can ride this together, and everybody will become better. So send your suggestions to RoopleeTV@gmail.com. Let me know what you want to see. Right now, I've just been focusing on the Saturday show has been just watching a game between two teams and analyzing the entire team's concept as a whole. And then the Sunday shows have been focusing on an individual player, an individual hero, or an individual player and hero, more like the individual roles within the game. So like what you can do to get better. I think next week, right now I have a plan of probably talking about either the carry or the offlane role. I did Dendy's Pudge last week, so send suggestions on what you want to see. Like if you're having a lot of trouble playing against a Timbersaw, or you want to play Timbersaw, or oh my gosh, Lycan is everywhere. I want to know how I can win every game as Lycanthrope, or Nature's Prophet. Why is Nature's Prophet played as an offlane hero in pro games, but in your general pubs he's like, oh, Nature's Prophet, go into the jungle? Why does that happen? I would really like to go into depth with all of those actually. Just time is always short. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Another episode, RoopleeTV, number 4. Tell your friends if you like this. I'll get the news out on Reddit, Team Liquid, as well as Play Dota and Join Dota, possibly. So, thank you guys for tuning in. I will catch you next Saturday. Peace out.